The phone call came on a Tuesday morning. I was folding laundry, humming to myself, when my phone buzzed across the counter. I almost didn't answer. The number looked unfamiliar. But something in me said, "Pick it up." "Hello?" There was silence first, the kind that makes your stomach tighten. Then a woman's voice, smooth, careful. "Mrs. Harper?" she said. "This is Tanya, from the office." I paused. "Tanya, you mean Marcus's secretary?" "Yes, ma'am." Her voice trembled, not enough for an outsider to notice. But a wife could. And before I could ask what was wrong, she blurted it out. "I just thought you should know. Marcus isn't in Chicago for work. He's on honeymoon. With me." For a second, the world just went silent. My heart thudded once, heavy, like a hammer on wet wood. The phone slipped from my fingers and hit the counter. The word honeymoon echoed around my kitchen like a curse. My husband, of 15 years, my church partner, my laughing companion through every broken appliance, every midnight prayer, the same man who kissed my forehead before that promotion trip 2 days ago. He told me he was meeting the regional manager, showing his new proposal. He'd even prayed with me that morning. Said, "Baby, keep me in your prayers. If this goes well, we might finally pay off that mortgage." And I did. I prayed for him. Hard. So when the truth hit, it didn't feel like pain first. It felt like numbness. Like the world had tipped sideways, and I was watching someone else's life fall apart. The washing machine hummed beside me, turning a fresh batch of whites, and I remember thinking, even the machine's more faithful than he is. Minutes passed, maybe hours. I finally called back, my hands trembling. "Tanya? Are you still there?" She sniffled. "Yes, ma'am." "Why are you telling me this?" "I thought you deserved the truth." He told me he was divorced, but I saw the pictures on his desk. You, the kids, the house. I couldn't keep living this lie. Her words came out in pieces, like broken glass. That was the moment the past 15 years started replaying in my mind. Every smile, every late meeting, every canceled dinner. How many times had I brushed off the scent of new perfume on his jacket? How many business trips had really been practice honeymoons? That's when I knew. This wasn't the first time he'd betrayed me. It was just the first time someone else confessed. I didn't cry right away. Not yet. Instead, I reached for the framed photo on the mantel, our wedding picture, and stared into the eyes of a man I suddenly didn't recognize. People always say you can tell when love starts to fade. But I didn't feel it fading, not at first. I thought we were just busy. You know? Two adults chasing bills, raising kids, trying to stay afloat. Marcus and I met in college. He had that wide, warm smile that could melt a whole room. When he laughed, even professors paused. I was the quiet girl who wrote poetry on napkins. He said he liked that about me. Said I made him feel seen. We got married 3 years after graduation. We built our little life in Atlanta. Nothing fancy, just a rented townhouse, a hand-me-down couch, and big dreams. He promised me the world, and I believed him. I still remember our first apartment. Every time it rained, the roof leaked in the same corner of the kitchen. Marcus would grab a bucket and say, "Baby, one day we'll laugh about this," in a house that's really ours. And I'd laugh with him, because I believed we were a team. Then he got that job at the pharmaceutical company. At first, I was so proud. He'd come home late, talk about conferences, clients, new responsibilities. I packed his lunches, ironed his shirts, prayed before every trip. But somewhere between promotion number 1 and promotion number 2, Marcus started changing.
He began locking his phone. He'd laugh at texts he wouldn't show me. And every time I asked, he'd smile that easy smile and say, "Winnie, you worry too much. I'm just tired. Tired." That word became his excuse for everything. One night, maybe 6 months before that phone call, I woke up and he wasn't in bed. It was 2 a.m. I found him in the living room, laptop open, and the glow of the screen lit his face in a way that looked almost guilty. He closed it fast. Said he was finishing a report for his boss, but the screen had shown an email, the name Tanya B, right there in the corner. I didn't know who Tanya B was. I told myself she was just a colleague. Denial is a soft blanket until it smothers you. The next morning, he kissed my cheek and said, "Wish me luck, big presentation today." I watched him drive off, and something in my gut whispered, he's already gone. Fast forward to the week before the promotion trip. He came home holding flowers, the cheap grocery store kind he only bought when he'd done something wrong. He said the company wanted him to fly out to Chicago for final approval on his proposal. I smiled, like a good wife. But I noticed he packed his cologne, his best cufflinks, and that new silk tie I'd never seen him wear. And when I hugged him goodbye, he held me just a second too long. The kind of hug that feels like a goodbye, not a see you soon. So when that secretary called, a part of me wasn't shocked. It hurt, God, it hurt. But somewhere deep inside, I already knew. What I didn't know was how deep the betrayal went. Because that night, when I checked our bank app, there was a withdrawal, $5,000, and a hotel in Miami listed under his name. Miami, not Chicago. That's when the numbness turned to fire. I wasn't about to sit and wonder. I called my cousin Tasha, the bold one who never sugarcoats. "Tasha," I said, "I need you to help me find Marcus." She didn't even ask why. She just said, "Say less. Where we going?" And that was the night we packed a small bag, booked 2 cheap plane tickets, and headed straight for Miami to find out if my husband's promotion was really just another word for paradise with someone else. We landed in Miami just before sunset. The air was thick with salt and perfume and the sound of people living their best lives. I remember thinking how unfair it was that the world could look that beautiful while my marriage was falling apart.